Podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
As we're in right now. As I said earlier on, the good thing about what happened, one of the very few good things is that it's crystal clear. It's not that difficult. You don't even need glasses to analyze and to see where the problems are. So now it's only about how do we solve them. And for me, it's clear. It's not enough to do some little minor amendments, some little issues here and there, some minor cosmetic things. No, this is, in medicine, you would see this is an operation at the open heart. So there are more things to be changed and some little things here and some minor things there. And this is the good thing. And for me, this is, if this happens, and if everybody has realized that this has to happen, and if people want to work together, then it makes sense. And then I still believe that it doesn't need and take 2 or 3 years to change those things. This can happen within 1 year. All respect to Jürgen and Pep, I'm sure that they didn't do all the things themselves. There were also other people involved in those two clubs, top people in certain positions, no matter in which area it was. In order to rebuild and build something that we want to build here, in all areas, you have to have top people, and they have to work together in a very close and in a very reliable way.
And we fired that guy.
Yeah, basically. How we doing? Ralf Rangnick shooting it a little too straight from the hip after United lose their first Premier League game under the new manager, Erik ten Hag. Sir, McSauce, McFred, they're back on the menu. United didn't do it today. And Ralf Rangnick, hey, for better or for worse, wasn't the great on the pitch side, but he certainly had a hell of a press conference in him. Everything he said was right. No expertise in the front office. Full open heart surgery needed for this squad in order to challenge with the best of them in the Premier League. You saw what our rivals did today. Nunez, goal and assist. Haaland, 2 goals, sir. Welcome to those Norwegian nuts. They're going to be everywhere. It's going to be a long season. How are we feeling? How are we doing?
Horrid performance from United. Seen this movie before, all the cliches. Those words from Ralf Rangnick, they were bold when he spoke them in that press conference, calling out the ownership, calling out the front office, saying exactly what we need. It is clear as day what Manchester United need. You don't have to do it in 3 years. You can do it in 1 year. You need 10 players. It's open heart surgery. Get out the dead wood. Get out the bad eggs. Bring in new players. And you know what the CEO of Manchester United did, Richard Arnold? He fired Ralf Rangnick, and he said, you know what? We're going to spin it in the press. We're going to go PR and say it is an open heart surgery. We're going to polish this turd up. We're going to deliver it to Manchester United fans on August 7th, 2022. And what did we see? We saw the same exact team, bluffers, going in the first half, barely putting in an effort and conceding another. You saw us come out fine. You're not playing great, but we basically gave up. We were looking at the clock, trying to get to half, conceded another goal. This is Brighton. Brighton, who sold £100 million worth of players. Their 2 best players they got rid of, and they're playing us off the park at home at Old Trafford. This is unacceptable, and you got to be pointing the finger at the owners. Abysmal summer, and look at what we got. You got to back Erik ten Hag. It's going to be a process. It's going to take time, but man, what happened last season, what we're seeing today, leaving it late in the window once again, day late, dollar short, no money down. Arnautovic getting him. Igalo FC, that's all we got at the moment. We are a laughingstock. The state of Manchester United, there is only one solution, and it's always been that green and gold till the club is sold. Get the Glazers out of this club.
Well said, sir. You speak of the passion of a fan who is frustrated because after the year we had, even just seeing poor Ralf Rangnick saying it like it is, that was only 4 months ago. It feels like a lifetime ago. Fans have already forgotten, throwing him under the bus. Yeah, he wasn't great on the pitch line, but he knew what he was talking about. He knows how to rebuild a club. He would have been a great asset for Erik ten Hag. And even without him, Rangnick's gone, but right now they're not supporting the manager. They're not getting him the players he needs. They're not just getting players even outside of the ones on his list because right now we need bodies. And today, hey, his signings look good. Martinez looked good. Eriksson looked good, but you're not going to be able to win anything with McFred, Our fullbacks look just completely off the mark. You lose Martial. Ronaldo came in. He had some moments, but desperate times in Manchester United. We're miles off, and we're going to stay miles off as long as we are owned by the Glazers. So they showed their faces for the first time in 3 years. I hope it's the last time, but we have a long way to go, and there could be some rough patches between now and the end of the season.
We're going to go back to some other great words spoken by a former Manchester United captain who knows the standard that should be set at Manchester United. This is over 3 years ago. Think of these words, wise words when he said them, and still affecting this club to this day.
Right then, that he's under pressure already.
No, I don't think under pressure already in terms of his job, but he'd be under pressure because they're not getting results, and particularly the performance. I'm always intrigued when I hear after games when people talk about, but we'll be up for the next game, you know. You're supposed to be up for every game. And to me, it doesn't matter if you're playing for Man United or Altrincham. You've got to be up for every game of football. So I don't fall for this carry-on that there's going to be a brilliant reaction from these players. These are the same players that threw Marino under the bus. And they will do exactly the same to Ollie. Lepers don't change their spots. There's too many bluffers at this club to get United back to the very top. Even the point that we're talking about Man United trying to finish fourth tells you how the standards have dropped at United over the last few years, I think both on and off the pitch. So, big test for Ollie as well, of course.
Yeah, and that's why I was angry on Sunday, because Jose Mourinho's a hardened manager, 20 years success, and you could say, well, OK, he can handle it, but sat next to Ollie in the change room for 11 years, you have a feeling towards him. You're not going to sit here and be quiet watching them players throw him under a bus. It's not happening.
And it's not up. Hopefully, people will agree with me here in the studio that it's not up to the manager to motivate the players. You've got to motivate yourself. You've got to be up for every game at Manchester United. And the fact Ollie's got to discuss it after the game and again the following few days about his players not being up for a game of football, he must be hugely embarrassed.
I mean, we're talking about today, season opener at home. I saw some players that were not up for a game. They're not ready. They wilted in the first half. Look, second half, we're going to get to that. They came out. They showed some fight. But can you imagine not having a half with those 70,000 Old Trafford faithful behind you?
I mean, even the second half, I think we had like 10 minutes, 20 minutes max. We actually looked good. It was just, you were worried about it coming right back into our old form in terms of the playing style, slow, lack of gumption, pushing forward and trying to make something happen, taking too many touches on the ball, not playing even one-touch ball like we were playing in preseason. It wasn't even a continuation of that. It was actually just more last season. And a lot of the players, what happened to the high press? Like, we didn't see the same level of work that we even saw in preseason matches. Today, you have half that team probably. Do they earn their starting spot? I don't know. But we need a lot more options for the manager. We need time. He needs time. I am behind Erik ten Hag. It's going to take a while. But this is a very competitive Premier League, and there are a lot of players in this team who aren't up to scruff. And at the end of the day, you have a bunch of numpties in the front office that we're only as good of because we need to be able to keep up with our rivals, and we need to be able to strengthen this team and get him who he needs. And right now we're talking about Arnautovic. I can't pronounce his name, sir. I'm going to bottle it all time. I apologize ahead of time. But a £7 million transfer for a 33-year-old who wants a 3-year contract. I mean, sorry, if you make the same mistakes over and over again, nothing else is going to change. So I don't know what you expect if you do that deal. That deal, like Holland banging them in, and we're getting West Ham reject.
The Arnautovic transfer, I think, that was broken during the game that we bid $8 million. That
$8
is
million.
just like taking a lot of salt and just putting in that wound, because
like you're closing Cesco. It's like
we've been through this so many times. And look, my frustration, it's really placed on the players and it's placed on the owners and the front office, right? It's a push and pull. Erik ten Hag, he should be getting 5 years like job security. Like, I don't care how bad the season is. I don't care if we're 14th. I don't care if we're 13th. We got to weed out the weak. We got to get the bodies in that he needs to do the job. Because clearly he told them how to play, and the players got on the field, and they played like absolute dog shit. They did not press. There was no 1-2. There were no triangles. There's nothing that we saw in preseason. Oh, by the way, preseason, it's testimonial pace.
it's over.
Guess who loved preseason? These players, these bluffers, they love it. Feel good, social media, everything. having a great time, beat Scouse Bastards 4-0. Guess what? When you're playing for keeps, you think you're beating the Scouse Bastards 4-0? Not a chance in the world. And by the way, we play them in the game after next. These players are the issue. Like Roy Keane said, like the manager does not need to get you up for a match of football. This is Manchester United, Old Trafford, playing at home. They should be up for it. There were players that were up for it. Eriksson being one of them. Look, Martin has showed some fight. The 2 players we bring in to come in the team, they look good, and everyone else looks their normal selves. Fred and McTominay, bluffers. Delo, not even a chance. It is all, you can go down the list. Shaw, he's out of fitness. I don't know why Ten Hag didn't have the balls to put Molisi in there. He should have. Right? Ten Hag tried to probably not upset a lot of people. He's going to have to upset people. He's going to have to learn. These players let him down. We saw it all last year. I don't know how he didn't know that you can't play. You're better off playing Donnie and Fred or something. You got to switch this up because it was horrid. We have some world-class attacking players. The midfield can't get them the ball. Brighton, the tactics were better. They outplayed us. And like I said, they just lost their best player 3 days ago. It's incredible the level off that Manchester United is. And it's going to be a hell of a year. I'm going to temper my expectations here. I know as a fan, you come here as pod therapy, we got to get it out. But man, I thought it was going to be rough today. I thought it was going to be nervy on the ball.
I didn't think it'd be that bad.
I thought Brighton would overrun our back line. We wouldn't be able to play it out. We'd get frustrated, but somehow we would come up with, a draw or maybe pip them. I thought it would be a more scrappy of a game, but the way it went was awful. And then to have the news, like not to play any Ten Hag ball at all, to play as bad as we did, to lose, and then to be linked with Arnautovic is just too much in a day.
It's a lot. It's a long season, and this Eric Ten Hag era gets off to a little bit of a rocky start. But that's how this transfer window has gone thus far. There are a lot of players who are not up to it. They just don't have the quality to be a starter at Manchester United ever. Like, I hate to say it. We were rooting for him, Tootin' McSauce, but like he just ain't a starter in the Premier League. Delo, he cannot start Premier League games. Rashford needs to be benched. And even when Sancho goes from looking lights out in preseason to like what? 70 million what?
Or we're playing a false 9 because we don't have a number 9.
We don't have a number 9. We have one's on the bench, but we only have like 2 number 9s in the first place. One's injured, one's 37, wants to leave, and we're behind our manager. But there's a lot of these players that need to be moved to the side, and he's going to learn quickly that, like, hey, I can't rely on some of these guys, and he's going to have to make subs more quickly. He did a triple sub at the 90th minute. That should have came earlier. Ronaldo probably should have came earlier, and the other sub he made, putting Donny on for McTominay, who probably should have been the first guy to come off, has to be earlier. But the players he's bringing in are showing promise, but you know what? It could take 3-4 years for this front office to get him 11 new players. So it's going to be about making the most of the players he has. But the big takeaway was like first half looked like just them trying to play Ralph Rangnick ball. Like they forgot everything they learned in preseason. They forgot everything they learned in the last 4 weeks.
3 coaches, these players, this roster, 3 coaches. They play the same game every time. It doesn't matter. Ole tells them what to do. They don't care. Rangnick says you got to press. They don't do it.
No pressing.
Ten Hag says how to play. They do it for preseason, for the vibes, and then it comes game 1, they don't do it. It's incredible. It's absolutely, and so you think you can get another coach in here to figure it out? No, you need new players. Open heart surgery. Need 10 bodies. Ralph Rangnick said it in the presser. He wasn't the greatest coach on the touchline, but I admit it, he knows how to build a club, and he said, look, you can see it.
Clear as day.
Players missing at the last game of Crystal Palace, not even putting a shift. We were there, we saw it. This club need a reset, a hard reset. Ralph Rangnick called for it, and what we're seeing is the front office and the upstairs not willing to do that reset, and Ten Hag is going to have to pilot this ship through some dangerous seas.
Poor bastard. I mean, what a job.
And it's going to be a long season, but I back my manager. I love this club, and you know what? We got each other. That's the best part about it. Is this fan base, we got each other, and we're going to have to temper expectations, but when you're criticizing the owners, when you're criticizing the front office, and you're criticizing some of those players, that is valid. That is absolutely valid criticism, and you got to know where to draw the line. All right, quick PSA for the podcast. Hell of an intro. Spicy stuff on the podcast. If you like the America Red Devils, please support us on Patreon. We do not have any commercials on the pod. We have been reached out to a lot of these brands. You hear on every single pod. It is really annoying. We think it breaks up the flow. So we opted for the direct fan support instead. You can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/America Red Devils. We do a behind-the-scenes episode every single month. We give away pins, stickers, scarves, shirts, you name it. There's a ton of other benefits as well. Support us on Patreon, because if we're supported by you, we don't have to pull punches. You know, Gary Neville on Sky Sports talking about how the Glazers got to go, and they go to a commercial. It is real. The press don't cover them, and we want to be fan back so we can speak our minds. Please support us on Patreon. Check out our Discord channel. It's absolutely ripping. There's links on our Twitter page pinned and our website. Check out our website, AmericaRedDevils.com. Great fan blog content for fans, by fans, as well as an online store. New scarves are in. Glazers out scarves are in. Glazers out shirts are there. Green and gold to the club is sold. We got to be on it this season. Sir, tell them about iTunes reviews.
iTunes reviews or 5-star reviews of the American Red Devils podcast, wherever you listen. It's a great way to support the pod. And even better, we're giving away free merch. All you have to do, write a 5-star review wherever you listen and send a screenshot to AmericanRedDevils@gmail.com with your mail, and then send a screenshot at AmericanRedDevils@gmail.com with your mailing address, and I will personally pick, pack, and ship some free ARD gear. Send it right to your door, sir. We got a great review, fresh off the presses, 5-star from Watts ND, completely unsponsored, like United shirt. This pod is tighter than Avram Glazer's ponytail. Appreciate you, Watts. Appreciate all the American Devils written reviews. Please do so. Great way to help us get found organically. You can find other Muppets that can watch and break down United losing to Brighton and Hove Albion. Like you said, lost their 2 best players, sold Yusuf Sema, sold their left back. Cucurella. Spending money. We're not spending money. Nartovic, I cannot. If he joins our team, I'm fucked. I have no chance. No chance. But all I know is he played for West Ham. He wants a 3-year deal, sir. He's 33. That would be very United. Give him a 3-year deal.
If you want to drop a review, make sure to keep the banter hot, because that is so much level. Completely unsponsored, like United shirt, AK Team Viewer, and then that Avram Glazer ponytail. So shout out to Watts for the 5-star review. Let's get into it. Manchester United 1, Brighton Hove Albion 2. We did not get to talk about, but we might be just stopping the match recaps this season just because they're just going to be brutal.
It's got to pick up from here.
We might need to skip the match recaps here. Game 1, EPL at home, Old Trafford. Let's get into that lineup. We had Dave Sayes, world number 1 in net. Luke Shaw, left back. Martinez, Maguire. Then Delo on the right. Fred McTominay. Fred in midfield. Can't get rid of it. We had Bruno in the hole. Rashford on the left. Sancho on the right. And actually Eriksen playing the false 9. Again, Manchester United with the false 9. I did not like it. I would rather play Elanga, run Rashford through the middle. It just, the false 9, last time we saw it, it was under Rangnick. Did not work for Manchester United. Made me a little nervy. How are you feeling about this lineup?
I mean, the fullbacks give me concern. Delo, Premier League. Also, Malacia, I think already he looks like he's going to take Shaw's spot. The McFred comebacks to haunt you. You can't get away from that ever. I was hoping he'd play like Fred Eriksen. And like you said, I was preferring like a Rashford up front, Garnacho on the left. Maybe that's too wishful. But this is the 11 we got. False 9. Be damned, that was not working for us. We created nothing. This, especially that first half, that was just a brutal watch.
So it's like this is the Erik ten Hag's first test for United. If you had to grade this lineup for what he has at the moment and what he put out, I got to give him a C. I don't think it's a great lineup. I really don't think he did a service. Like, I think playing Malacia puts pressure on Shaw. You play mental games with him. I think you're getting a jump out of Shaw too. Instead, you just hand it to him, Malacia. I don't know. With Delo,
not a lot of options.
Delo, I'll give him a pass. Martinez, Maguire, that's fine. McFred, I'll give him a pass, but not playing like Garnacho and then Rashford through the middle. That has some teeth to it. So say you can't play Ronaldo. I actually think you come out with Ronaldo, even if he only has 45, then you bring in the kid. I think it's a statement to see Ronaldo on the team sheet. I have to give Erik ten Hag like a little bit here, because just it's a little too much Ole ball, a little too much safety from Erik ten Hag here. I didn't feel a little, when the other team sees that team sheet, they're probably like, we can get at him.
Well, there's something about having CR7 walk out on the pitch with you. It's just like a different octane of athlete. And I think having him start would have been probably the preferred move, but I also think he was trying to make he's trying to make a statement that, like, I am bigger than you. Keep yourself in line because
How'd that go?
Well,
It doesn't go well.
I mean, I would have started him, but like he has to do that because Ronaldo might stay at the club.
No, I know, but you got to play for the fans. So you start Ronaldo, you get more out of the fan. It's just
He'll
like
start
you got
the
to
next
play
game.
that
Don't
game.
worry. He'll start the
No,
next
but
game.
if you're coming out at home, it's a little bit of the mind games.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
you're not
it's a little
thinking
bit
of
of the
this
mind games.
bad. Like he saw the preseason.
Yes, I agree.
He thought the team would play better, and actually, dude, we didn't even press.
First half, United come out. You know, we played decent for 5-10. Bruno had a great chance in the 7th minute. And then it kind of all went missing. The midfield, gobbledygook, McFred didn't look sharp, couldn't play out of the back. We were nervous. Brighton were there. They were sitting back, ready to counter. Danny Welbeck, worldy of a touch around Maguire. And luckily he was offsides. I mean, we were sweating here. Brighton coming at us. We looked shook. Deer in the headlights at home. We've seen this movie before.
There was so much to be excited about coming out of preseason. Direct football, high line, high press, and the thing that was so concerning about today was how quickly we went back to old form in this first half, playing backward passes, slow football, everything that we got excited about in the summer just didn't pan out today, sir, and it got ugly pretty early, that 30th minute.
30th minute.
His country too. I mean, he's done it many times for Ireland, and I saw him come on yesterday for Fulham.
A shrewd acquisition by Marco Silva, I would suggest. This could be more than shrewd for Brighton here. It's Welbeck! It's begging to be tapped home, and is by Pascal Gross.
He might have been looking for.
I mean, absolutely brutal here. You know, you look at Danny Welbeck, good run in behind, in between Martinez and Maguire, but Maguire doesn't pick up the run, and then he doesn't get hustled back for the cross. Luke Shaw, again, far post. Defense, too easy. It has been coming. Obviously, we have Ronaldo on the bench, putting his hands in the air. Get me out of here.
Get me out of here. This team does not look like they're any closer to Champions League football, but like you said, Maguire caught flat-footed, but he doesn't even do enough to recover. You know, he just shows like slow. Looks like testimonial pace, like he's still in preseason. Not good enough. I think he kind of switched on after the second goal, but either way, there was enough bad defending to go around.
Yeah, and Martinez kind of did one of these where pointing at his eyes, pointing at the run.
Yo, bro.
Hey,
You're the
Danny
captain.
Welbeck's getting him behind. He's making these runs. You got to make the adjustments on the fly. Like the top center backs start seeing how they're trying to spread Martinez and Maguire. They're trying to make those diagonal runs, and it worked, and we weren't able to make the adjustments to do it. Now, look, the midfield didn't help the lads out. You got to say that. Also, some shoddy defending in the second goal. The 39th minute, we were fading, and Brighton coming for more.
Sufficient strength to shrug off Eriksson and find Gross. Lallana. Solly March. McAllister's arriving. Oh, and De Gea doesn't get there properly, and Gross does! A sensation here! Well, the unexpected has hit Manchester United right between the eyes.
Well, I mean, all this has stirred, and it's wonderful skill, the way they work the ball up the pitch. They've taken over. They're bossing.
I mean,
the game
end-to-end stuff from Brighton. I'm going to blame this one on us sulking from the 30th minute. We really lowered our heads. We really gave up the fight, lost all of our confidence. Ten Hag will talk about in the post-match presser, but look, Dalot gets caught up in the attack. Fred has to cover that, and he's not switched on. He's not thinking about the danger that is at the back post. That's how he should be thinking. Can you blame him? He can't sniff out the danger. Is he a pure CDM? I don't know. But Dalot not even hustling to get back either. He's walking in the frame. The same shoddy defending we saw last season. Not good enough for Manchester United. You can't expect Ten Hag to fix it overnight, but man, all of this in the first half.
You can't let a 30th minute goal get you down. This is the opener of the season, new manager. There's a lot to be optimistic about, but you had so many defenders back, and there's so much poor defending to go around. Like you said, Dalot, that's indefensible, right? Like first half, the guy can't run back after he loses the ball, let alone Shaw doesn't close down his man. Fred, I guess he's covering, but at the end of the day, that's just like lackluster, sloppy defending, not unlike the first goal.
Sorry, and obviously, is it Scotty Marsh or Slotty Marsh? That's the second best name in the EPL behind Matty Cash. You love Matty Cash. You love a
Big
good
Matty
character
Cash. Sign
name
him
here
up.
on the EPL. If there's a positive, you have to laugh at the great football names. We went to halftime. Sir, what were you thinking? We both said, Ten Hag, he's a ruthless man. You can see that mean mug on the sideline. He's surely benching some fools. He's bringing in some reinforcements because they're not doing the job, right?
Well, this is we saw him in the presser. We've seen him with other clubs. For us, we had Rangnick. He wasn't willing to make hard choices. Doesn't have a lot of options, but I was hoping to see a halftime sub, if not two. You got 5 subs now in the Premier League in 3 instances. There was easily 2 players that could have been pulled off. No sub at halftime. I was a little surprised, but I think based on the way today went, he's going to have to be a little bit more ruthless and quick to the draw because a lot of the subs today were not done soon enough.
United come out in the second half not looking too confident, waiting for those changes. 48th minute, great chance for Danny Welbeck. Could be 3-0. Danny Welbeck having a worldie. These old United players love to show up playing against their old club. 49th minute, Eriksen, great ball for Rashford, but he gets nowhere near it. And then here we go. CR7, bring on the go. 53rd minute sub, Ronaldo on for Fred. What'd you make of Fred coming off before Scotty? He was rumbling, bumbling. He was also on the yellow. What'd you think of this change?
I was a little surprised. I thought McTominay would have come off because, like you said, he was on a yellow. He looked a little reckless. He was all over the place. And Fred seemed to be breaking up play a little bit. He had a couple tackles, whereas I didn't see McSauce do nothing. But, hey, that's why we trust Erik ten Hag. He took off Fred for Ronaldo. But the key was putting on Ronaldo. And those other subs took way too long.
Yeah, I think he got Fred for that second goal. That was really his mistake. Also, he almost passed it to the other team in our 18-yard box as well. So
Seen that before.
we have, unfortunately.
McTominay he gave the ball away for the first one, so you could have taken both out.
Facts. Speaking about facts, 60th minute, Ronaldo finds Rashford on the break. One-on-one with the keeper, Rashford. He does it in preseason. The money's on the line. Oh, he can't finish. This was on a plate. Rashford should have done better here. I mean, could take a touch, go around the keeper. This is one of those where has to be a goal if United are trying to get back in this game.
And as you said, it was off. It was flagged off. It was likely probably going to be overturned if they had scored, but Rashford should have done better. Sanchez did well coming out, but take a touch, go around them. There's no defenders around. It was a nice play finally from United, showing some promise in the 60th minute, but you have to take your chances, right? That first half chance with Bruno, it was all we had in the first half, but those chances make a big difference.
Hey, we were growing into the game. We were showing that fight. We got that mentality, that edge back. Got a few corners. I was standing up. I was ready. Come on, let's get the comeback.
I scared your
going.
daughter. I was shouting.
67th minute, let's go.
On the follow-up. Oh, and Sanchez is in trouble here. And in. Well, Dallo involved initially, I must confess. I'm not sure who got the final touch.
Bounces off the keeper, an arm,
But
a
it
back.
breathes life back into Manchester United.
Off a
Sanchez
divot in the pitch, it
is
goes in the
simply
net.
unhappy.
Manchester United with a gift here. Own goal
Sanchez is claiming he was
gets United within one. I mean, we were even lucky to get a goal here. We didn't create much. That's the one thing I'm going to say. It's not like we had these great chances. That Rashford half chance on an offsides.
Nothing.
That was it. We didn't have these opportunities.
And the one thing was that Sanchez looked, especially in the second half when we actually put some balls in, he looked nervy all day. I would have just kept taking shots from outside the box because I think he fumbled a bunch of them. I mean,
Yes.
he fumbled a couple of them. I think Ronaldo got close to one. I think Rashford tried to get close to another. So the move would have been just like Eriksen and Bruno just take shots at him and let him, hopefully spill it.
Speaking of shots from outside the box, the Butcher takes a solid shot from outside the box, just over. Great opportunity for Martinez on his debut for Manchester United. 78th minute sub, Donny for McSauce. Donny looked tricky coming on. Again, United didn't look horrible here, but just not the clear-cut chances. Again, this is that game plans out the window, throw the attackers on. That was kind of the mentality. We took off a CDM, we put on Ronaldo, and then it was just everything in the kitchen sink here. 90th minute, same along those lines. Garnacho, Malacia, Elanga for Sancho, Bruno, and Shaw, but too late. It ends 2-1. Manchester United lose at home. How did this happen? It seems like we just beat ourselves. And that's the story. We beat ourselves so many times last season, didn't show up for a match, didn't start right, didn't get the 11 right, and then we sulked our heads, got down, we dug a hole too big we couldn't come back from, and then we have this kitchen sink strategy in the second half. We saw it so many times last season. You do create chances when you take off all defenders and put on attackers. I love that. It's Manchester United, but we didn't create the clear-cut chances. We couldn't break them down, and what a rough first half for United. All around, not a great start to the Ten Hag era, but you got to give this man time. Look at what the front offices gave him. They're crumbs. We got crumbs. We got Eriksson on a free and Malacia. Martinez looks like a player. I rate him, but it's going to take him a lot longer to get this squad sorted out because he had to see McSauce for himself, and he got it. McFred. He got McFred with cheese, and I bet you he ain't going back to that.
That's not going to be his regular order when he goes to McDonald's. He's not going to McFred with cheese because this is a mid-table side, right? It's a good mid-table side in Brighton. They did us dirty last season as well, but Premier League is not preseason. Everything that we had shown in preseason, it seemed to go out the window. We didn't show that quick, decisive play, high press, direct passing, willing to actually turn and take a second and then pass it upfield. Wasn't good enough, sir. I would have liked to see the subs earlier, but like you said, it's like we lost 6 first-team players, including Mason Greenwood. We've added 3. We're thin everywhere. When his options are like bring on Garner, who hasn't played a Premier League game, he doesn't have a ton of options. So we have to give the man time. We have nothing but time. Where are we going? As long as the Glazers are here, it's going to be a slow burn. So, and Eric Ten Hag, we trust. I trust. But hell, it's going to be a big task. Big task.
Sir, I mean, Eric Ten Hag, he can only do so much, right? And he's telling the players how to play. We saw some patterns of play in preseason that looked encouraging. You got to take a page out of Diego Simeone's playbook. It's like these players need the cojones to play that way. I'd rather us lose 5-0, trying the triangles, trying to play out the back, trying to be brave. We look scared. We just look scared. It's like
we're walking again.
Premier League's back. Premier. We're back, baby. And it's like playing out the back, nervy, taking too many touches, making bad decisions. It's just I need to see someone's got to be a little braver on the ball. You know, Martinez looked like that player to me. Eriksson looked like that player to me. Those are the 2 guys we brought in.
New signings look great.
So what does that look like? Hey, Ten Hag knows a few ballers.
Yeah, he does.
He's made some good calls, right? Apparently, the front office has only signed the players he wants. So if we get Frankie de Jong, we're going to look better. The problem is we can't sign 11 in 2 weeks before the window's over. That is encouraging stuff, but I just need United to be braver. Go for it. If we're going to play the way he wants to play, do it. I don't care if we lose by 7, as long as you can see we're trying to high press. We're trying to play Eric Ten Hag ball. We did not see that today. We reverted. We got scared and went into our shell, and whatever that is, ain't Rangnick telling them to play that way, and I don't think Ole's telling them to play that way.
Or Ralph. Nobody's telling them
Exactly.
to play that way, but at the end of the day,
They default to that. It's like,
dude, they go back. You go back to what's comfortable. You go back to playing those 2-man holding midfield, slow, backwards passing, passes to the midfielder, passes to the center back. But now it's going to be about like he's only going to get a certain amount of help, right? The players he's picked, they're good signings. They fit right in. You can already see little 5'9" Martinez. He's a player, dude. But the thing is, now what does he do with the Shaws of the world, the Rashfords of the world, the McFreds of the world? I think he's got to be willing to be like, you're out. Who's up next? Donnie, are you good enough? Who's up next? Garner. You just like he's going to have to lean on his lack of depth, which is basically he's going to have to just try stuff, throw it at the wall and see what sticks, because there's got to be some players, there's got to be 11 that he's going to be willing to put in a shift. Because the fact that, like, I'm sorry, the Delo, he couldn't track back, like, that's not defensible. We haven't played a game in a week. It's like it's undefensible, because you don't do that in Manchester United. That's like what you do in MLS.
but you talk about these 2 players we brought in that started today. Martinez telling Maguire, yo, bro, got to track that run.
Yeah, bro.
Eriksson went to Delo and be like, hey, forward, dude, you got to make a turn, make a pass. Like, this is how we got to go. The new guys coming in.
Yep.
And Delo's like, no, we just pass it back. We lose the game, and then I go on social media. It's all good, bro. Like, you got to get that
Ace
out of our
law for
system,
life.
you know? It's just one of those things. Stat sheet. Manchester United, 17 shots. Brighton, 15. Shots on target 5 to Brighton's 4. Possession 63% to their 37. Didn't create many clear-cut chances with that. And where are we at in the table? Sir, we don't check the table until Christmas. You put it here, I'll talk about it. We're 13th place. Lucky number 13. You know what? Have a laugh. Scousebasters are 12th in the table. It doesn't matter. Tottenham winning the league. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Bournemouth second. Sir, I like to think it won't finish as badly as 13th. I like to think we're going to play a lot better football than we played today, but this was a rough start. First goal also in the Eric Ten Hag era as an OG, but I guess you take it. It's better than getting shut out.
Negative goal differential. What did the manager have to say? Eric Ten Hag, let us know.
Eric, how do you assess your first game in charge in the Premier League?
Disappointed result, and it's all about result. But also we know this is a process, and we should have done things better. So we have to learn from this and move forward.
How different is life as a coach in the Premier League and at Manchester United in particular to coaching in the Netherlands in the Eredivisie?
It's too short to give a conclusion about that. So we have to wait. I have to manage more games to see what's the difference.
I wonder if mistakes get punished more here. Did you feel you deserved to be 2 goals down? Was that against the run of play?
Yeah, but that is the same. That isn't difference with Ajax. We want to make the game. So if you make too many mistakes in passing, you get punished. And when you make a mistake in rest defense or especially in transition defending, you get punished. So that isn't a change with what happened in Ajax.
What did you say to the players at half-time? Did you feel you deserved to be going in 2 down at the break?
No, we had also a chance to go up. It was a big chance and it was well played as well. So and I think that is what we need, and that will also give the players confidence. But I think the start was well. So, but after that it was a drop, and we have to learn from these lessons. But what especially we have to learn, keep the belief, because you see second half where we could turn around it, because I think after halftime we came with a really good spirit out of the dressing room, and we forced them back and we create chances.
What was your big change? It seemed from the outside like Christian Eriksen was far more influential in that deeper role in the second half.
Yeah, we put him there, of course, on purpose to make the game, and I think he did quite well.
All right, how do you grade our new manager's presser, sir? What do you give Eric Ten Hag? If you had to grade his first match for Manchester United.
Sir, I'm not grading him on the presser. I actually like his approach, how he doesn't give it much. But, he doesn't get an A. I think the 11, there are certainly, the question marks about not starting Ronaldo. I also get it. Ronaldo kind of bit his hand a little bit by leaving early. You got to make an example out of him. He's not that fit. But we could have used him a little bit earlier in the game. I also want to see subs earlier. I think the subs he did make were the right ones, but they should have been 10, 15 minutes earlier on pulling McTominay, and then 10, 15 minutes earlier on just throwing the kitchen sink. Because making 3 subs in 90th minute, you're just basically go get a start. You're not going to start. Go get an appearance, but basically you're not changing nothing.
It's also Super Sunday on Sky Sports. You're going to hear from Roy Keane. And when Roy Keane speaks, this pod, we listen to the man.
That performance today, Roy, any cause for optimism?
No, not really. And I think people have to be wary of. Gary mentions there when people say pre-season. I think that was a lot of PR nonsense coming out of Man United. I saw 1 or 2 of the games and I still saw some of the same problems. Again, we go back to a lot of the players in the starting 11, particularly midfield. It's the same characters, same personalities. Okay, some of these players have there's elements of talent in the squad, but when they do have a little setback, they can't seem to deal with it. Again, I go back to that DNA of this club or the culture of the players or what's going on the training ground. It's not there. I don't see personalities. I don't see character. You said Harry Maguire used after the game saying it was a nightmare start. Well, it's up to the players to do something about it. Harry's the captain. After every game or the last season, he keeps coming up. We're disappointed. We'll regroup. We'll go again. Leopards and spots. They've got to make some changes. I know it's not necessarily always about just throwing money at it, but if these players aren't up to it or good enough for Man United...
Roy, can I ask you a question? Do you think the players... I think the players that they've got there, though, I think every single one of them that I watch is giving 100%. They need probably the support of better players coming in alongside them. So I'm not sort of saying that they're nothing to do with this, but I just asked the question. I think they are giving their all.
But we saw the stats last year, Gary. They don't run, they don't sprint, they don't... That to me, that's not giving 100%. The word coming out from the training ground over the last month or two is they're not training properly. There's discipline. They're going to train on time. That's got to be there. That comes from within the group, no matter who the coach is. You know that better than anybody. So it's very hard to criticise players and say they're not giving 100%. But if the stats suggest, more so than last season, it's obviously only one game into the season, then they're not giving 100%. I think today was a little bit of lack of football intelligence. They're dead open. They can't seem to keep clean sheets. Huge problems for the club, as we well know.
You said earlier, I think, that, and we said it so many times last season, the problem for Manchester United is they're the easiest team to play against in the league. That's a massive worry.
But that's the biggest insult you can give a team, Gary.
I know it's the openness of them is unbelievable. They're chasing back something. You see Fred and McTominay on that first goal, they're chasing back. But it's like, how have they got themselves in that position?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we know they're trying to make signings. Frankie.
We're trying to pivot to the signing.
They're flying down to Barcelona in their Blazers.
Leopards and spots. They don't change them. Roy Keane, harsh.
Bluffers.
If you're going to come out and you're going to say we're fit, if you're going to come out and say we're training hard, you better run hard. You better look better than we did today. But you know what, sir? There's always a next match. We can wipe the slate clean. It's just match one under Erik ten Hag. He was just figuring out how to swim in these waters that is the English Premier League, and now we're going to have to figure out how to do it away versus Brentford at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Game week 2, Saturday, August 13th, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Lifetime versus Brentford. Why are we worried? We've won 8, drawn 2, lost 5. First time we faced them, 1928 in the FA Cup. We won 7-1. The Muppets could use a 7-1.
I love a 7-1.
Against Brentford. Get Ronaldo another hat trick. Last 5, we've won 4, drawn 1. What are we worried about? Well, Brentford did beat Brighton in preseason, but we're talking about practice. Today, they drew Leicester City 2-2. Hard to say where everyone's coming out. Brentford kept everyone except Christian Eriksen. We got him, so we're doing pretty well. How are you feeling about going to this Brentford match?
These are the teams that you have to be able to beat if you're going to be competing for anything, but also just finishing the top 4. You have to be able to get one by the Brentfords and the Palaces and the Brightons and the Villas of the league. Like, they're just part of the deal, and they're hard to beat. They're well-drilled. They're organized. You're going to be playing at the former Brentford Community Stadium, sir. They sold the naming rights between last season and this. Now it's the G-Tech Stadium. And dude, they're always well drilled. The games against Brentford last season were a little chippy, if you remember correctly. And I'm expecting a lot of the same. They got Tony. He's a player that we were attached to. Apparently cost too much because now we're looking at Bargain Bin FC, bro. West Ham United former player, straight out of China, the new Igalo, but type of team we got to be looking to beat, right? They're going to be sitting back. They're going to play compact. They're going to try and play us in the break. We're going to see a lot of that this league this season, except for like the top 4, 5, 6 teams. So we have to get used to it. I like to see a more adventurous starting 11, mix it up a little bit. A couple of players deserve to get dropped. You just don't have a lot of players to bring in.
A little history on Brentford, nicknamed the Bees. They feature the B on their badge. They were founded in 1889, and they played home matches at Griffin Park from 1904 before moving to the G-Tech Community Stadium in 2020. Their main rivals, fellow West London-based clubs like Fulham, Queen's Park Rangers. We've been to both those stadiums. Pretty nice there in West London, and Brentford were relegated to the 4th tier in 1998, and they fought their way back to the top tier of English football since. They've had a few unsuccessful championship playoff campaigns, 2015, 2020. They did win the championship final in 2021, playing in Wembley, which is awesome. They have been nicknamed the Moneyball team. There's a bunch of YouTube videos if you're interested. They scrapped their youth academy. They actually have a B team, so they bring in prospects, and they have run 2 full senior teams. It's an interesting take. It has worked for them. They got the Dane at the helm. He's got the flow.
Nice flow.
We pipped Eriksen. That's got to be the biggest benefit. We talked about Brighton losing their 2 best players coming in. They bossed us.
Brentford, their best player.
Brentford plays well. They got a good coach. They got a cohesive squad. They did lose their best player. Hopefully they don't boss us. Hopefully they don't. Injuries coming in this game. Facundo, he has that ankle. Maybe he could be on the bench. Martial, hamstring. The hammy. It's a very fickle injury. Too early, he could re-injure it. Could be a few weeks for Martial. We'll keep you posted. Brandon Williams, he is undisclosed, out for undisclosed reasons. Rumor is a transfer might be waiting in the wings. Sir, give me your lineup, given those are injuries.
So
who do you got?
This is 11 I'd like to see. Almost certainly will not see this 11, but this is who I got. De Gea net. I got Ethan Laird at right back. Martinez, Maguire, Malacia as my back four, rounded it out. Eriksson, Donny van de Beek, Bruno Fernandes, Garnacho on the left, Ronaldo up front, Sancho at the right. Let's go, boys. Let's get all 3 points. Who you got?
I like that. Garnacho, Ronaldo, Sancho. Let's go.
Bruno.
Let's go. Hey, you got it. I'm going to say Dave saves world number 1 in net. Delo, Maguire, Martinez, Shaw. I don't think. I mean, it was rough, but we're going to see him again.
The fullbacks did bad.
You're going to see Fred, Bruno, Eriksson, Sancho, Rashford, Ronaldo. You got to give Rashford another the run. There was, to be fair, the stats were not good for Marcus, but the midfield didn't give them any. It's like,
no, they didn't get the ball at all.
you can't judge the attack because we couldn't get them the ball in any way, shape, or form until it was like throw the kitchen sink at it. Booking the bookies, the odds, United favorites, plus 100, Brentford plus 270, the draw plus 250. Given those are the bookies odds, what is your score prediction? Brentford away.
Sir Muppet's got a Muppet. United 1-0. Ronaldo with a pen. We keep a clean sheet, thank goodness. Big win. On to the Scouse bastards after that. So you ready for that? You ready for that? That should be fun.
Help me. Help us, please. We're going to fly you over there just to endure the match.
Feet.
I got 2-1 Brentford. Same thing. Same team. Same result. You're going to have Brighton and Brentford. They're very similar.
We're going to drop the first 3.
I'd be very surprised if we can play better than that. Think about it. You get a week, it's away, and we don't have a lot of bodies. So how can we expect us to just, boom, be able to play? You know, I like to predict a draw. I'm going to be conservative. I'm going to say 2-1 Brentford, and hopefully my team, please surprise me. Let's get into the news. United in the news. You mentioned it earlier on the pod. Marko Arnautovic. That's a mouthful for us here at the podcast, you know.
We've got a lot of mispronunciations.
Hooked on
in our
phonics
future.
works for me.
What's the
Apparently,
deal,
we have bid £7.6 million. It was rejected
by Bologna FC.
Arnautovic played for West Ham and Stoke. Then now he's playing for Bologna in Serie A. He had 14 goals last season. Not many assists. You can't really say that isn't a great number. But for me, the more disturbing side of it is he did get suspended in Euro 2020 from some racial abuse. I think it was North Macedonia, if I'm correct. I don't know exactly what went on. I read the article. He did get suspended. Apparently, I think Alaba came over and they got in an altercation because of what Arnautovic was saying to the crowd while he scored. Didn't look great.
Didn't look great. Did not look great.
There's some other stuff associated with him, but I have not been able to. I've tried to Google it. I've seen stuff on Twitter. I don't have a solid case on this guy. It literally came out earlier today, but there's some murkiness around him. That's probably why he's in Bologna. That's probably why he's cheap. And do we, you read all these articles earlier in the summer. Murta, Arnold, they're talking about, we got to make sure we're increasing our diligence. We're increasing our process. We're managing. Like, we got to make sure everyone is like we've signed players with bad attitudes. Sanchez, for one. Probably Lukaku is another, and that continued at Chelsea. So players with bad attitudes. This guy seems like red flags all over the place. And the only reason why we're interested is he's cheap and available. And that is sad because when you don't do your business right and you don't have world-class talent in your front office, you get caught out. You get caught with your pants down. You got 2 weeks and you need bodies, and then you're open to signing characters you don't know or can't diligence, and you're just looking for whoever you can sign. So this summer, this process, however it was run, was decided by the CEO and the director of football. Yes, we have one, and he has no experience, and this is the result of their effort right now.
No, I mean, I remember the first time they sold us this. They sold us one of these signings. It was Odi Nagalo. We all tried to get behind him. He had some good moments, but we had sold Lukaku for £70 million, replaced him for £9 million player coming from China. Then we did it again with Cavani. It went well the
We
first year.
extended Igalo, then he never played.
Right. Then he never played.
Yeah, okay.
And guess what? Cavani, he played well, and then we extended his contract, and he never played. And guess what? This guy wants a 3-year contract. I don't know nothing about the off-field drama. All I know is, like, he ain't good enough to play at Manchester United. And, like, a 3-year stopgap is not a stopgap. And, dude, we don't need any bad attitude, bad dudes. Like, guys that are, like, racially abusing people on the pitch is not Manchester United material. He's a former Hammers player. Like, he ain't up to snuff. He looks like kind of he's going to end up being a Manchester United player, so I don't want to slate him too bad. But what do you expect? It's like we're run by second-rate owners who
but
want
his
to put no
career
money
has
into the
sunset.
team. He's past his prime. He's 33 years old, and he's not any good. He's not. I mean, he's a journeyman, but like you'd be better off getting an Ings. Getting a Tony, like there are better players that are still playing in the Premier League. Getting a who's the Russian guy at Fulham who's banged him in Mitrovic. Like get somebody who's like a little younger. This is just cheap and good. This is not even cheap and good. This is cheap and
I hire this man to be the director of football at Manchester. You said just get Mitrovic. Get Tony.
Dude,
These
Mitrovic would be good. He's a
65, baby. Let's go. Make a deal.
Honestly. Because they don't want to spend any money.
Hey, spin the wheel.
They
Make
don't want
a
to spend
deal.
money,
Let's
bro.
go,
They have
Manchester
£8 million
United.
bro. Cheaper than Malacia.
We need no money down. We need number 9. Come on. Oh, speaking of number 9, why are we talking about Arnautovic? Like, yes, you just woke up in an alternate reality, and yes, we're talking about Marco Arnautovic to Manchester United after we just got smoked by Brighton, after we ain't signing nobody. What has happened to this club? If you travel back in time 10 years, we lose the Champions League final to Barcelona, and you'd be like, in 10 years, you are going to be trying to sign Marco Arnautovic. You would be like, no, this is not possible. And you'll lose to Brighton at home. You'd be like, no way.
Time for we're back in the Champions League.
You couldn't believe it. You couldn't believe it.
Look
But
at
we
him.
are here.
You want that guy?
We are here
You want
today.
that guy?
Next article here. Sesko. The latest on Sesko is RB ain't selling this summer. They're in discussions for his future after this season. So we can't even get Sesko. We can't even overpay for this kid no one's ever heard of.
I know.
You know how desperate you are is when the guy that you're going to overpay for can't even come. And that's where we're at right now. We're willing to pay the price. Apparently $41.8 million, maybe 50.
But he won't go. Year. We got to loan him back for a year.
Exactly.
So how does that help us now?
So we can't even get a body. But like the question goes begging. Arnold, he said that famous lie. We got money to spend, but we ain't spending shit. And when it comes to players that we could buy in the Premier League, Tony, Mitrovic,
the
there's
real
players.
thing is,
There's players here, and we ain't DCL for Everton. He's injured, but we could buy him.
Sure. The best thing is like Zakaria, like players are like Kamara, like CDMs. Okay, they're not as good as Frankie De Jong. They're not as good as even a Neves, but they're players that can do a job, get slot in. And they're like, no, we don't want to have any players that like aren't picked out by the new manager and fit his philosophy. Like, you think he gave his list of the strikers he wants? He's like, I want Arnautovic. Bring him back from Bologna. He's still got years, and I'll give him a 3-year contract.
Bologna
Are you
FC.
fucking crazy? Like, that is such a bad idea. And that means we are broke and we got no money to spend, or we just have no options left, which is just as bad because... Dude, play one of the kids. Play McNeil. I take McNeil over like this guy.
I know, but we're screaming into the void. It's that point in the pie.
void. No one's listening.
It's that point in the pie where you just gotta say, this shit is going so much worse than I could have ever imagined. You know, like I would have thought at least to be like, we'd pay $100 million for Frankie De Jong, which at the end of the day,
Who cares?
who cares, right?
Might as well.
Okay, fine. We overpay for Frankie. We overpay for Martinez. You get Malacia. You know,
Ericsson for free.
Ericsson free. Ronaldo leaves. You don't replace him. Like, okay, whatever. Let's just go.
False 9.
But not even be able to close Frankie is brutal. And then being linked to this riffraff is rough. And then having that go. Do you see the photo of these guys in the stands? Murtaugh, Arnold, they just look like, they're like, God damn it. We're like they're just like, the least we could get is a dub.
Dude,
they're like, we get a dub, we get like a little bit of breathing room. It's like people are like, this is just gonna focus the fans. Glazers out.
He couldn't
1958. This is what it's all about. It's all about putting pressure on the Glazers. And get to this article here.
That's right.
Team viewer, new contract, no more. They just announced they're bleeding cash. Pandemic company, they
Just
rode
started,
the
by the
highs.
way. The contract
They're
just started.
crashing down, and they're already out. They're like, this is the
Got 4
worst
years
deal
left.
ever.
They're like, we're good.
And this is a changing of the tide. because we can't even give TeamViewer a bump. Our front of our jersey, Scouts Bastards are about to sell a record spot on their kit. Will be a world record for the most money paid for commercial advertisement on a sports jersey, and it'll be the Scouts Bastards because they're climbing up and we're going down. We had AIG, Chevrolet broke the record, Adidas broke the record for us, and then now we get TeamViewer. They're already out year 2. They don't even want to be a part of it. The value of our shirt is going down. The play on a pitch is going down. The Glazers sucking us dry. And this is what I hope wakes them up is the commercial side is going to start turning. It takes a while, but when your brand is associated with playing like that, you know, it's going to take a toll commercially. And I think the protests are working, and I think TeamViewer, they're out.
I mean, some of this, the fact that TeamViewer, like, they were never there in a company. You know, they had a big COVID pop. That went away because less people are doing Zoom and remote work, and they were willing to pay big money. But, like, dude, we always knew that that's a huge step down from a Chevrolet. When this news dropped a year ago, no one had ever heard of them. And you know what? In 4 years, no one will ever have heard of them. So, like, I like to think this is more on them just being the wrong choice as the sponsor to put on your shirt for a 5-year deal. But, you know, this is also a case where their stock's getting killed and they want to be like, yeah, that deal's good. We're not doing it again.
No, it has a lot to say, but you know, this is Glazers Out Corner. Just to let everyone know, we're going hard in the Glazers here. But if you're Manchester United, you don't associate yourself with TeamViewer as a brand because this is what they're going to do. They're going to turn quick and then get out. You need like large Standard Chartered Bank is going nowhere, and you know why Standard Chartered Bank's not going anywhere? It's because that deal's working out.
Right.
They're getting exposure. Their name is on lots of kits being sold around the world. It is worth it to pay world record money for the name on that kit. Our name does nothing. That's why they are telling their investors, we're out because this is such a bad deal. We're getting no exposure.
Because kids aren't buying the kit.
From being, yeah, exactly. We went to London.
And we always go to London.
We go to London all the time. We went to the Adidas store in London. They don't have, Manchester United shirts are like in the back. And there's one column.
I know.
And obviously it's London. You go to Manchester, it's a different story. But in the past, we would go to London, the rows of United shirts. People are not buying them. And that's where this whole exposure comes from TeamViewer. It is killing the commercial side. I've never seen United, less demand for Manchester United in London in the UK than the last time we went. When we went for Crystal Palace. I was very surprised how low it was. And then getting into it, shout out to 1958. We talked to them on this podcast. We support everything. Their protests, we tweet them out. We're behind them fully. We're against the Glazer share scheme with Must. Big protest this morning. They're doing it the right way. Peaceful protest, organized, get the fans together, show the Glazers we want them out, do it consistently. We love it. We hope they go again with the Scouts Bastards. That is a big game. They shut down the mega store. This is what it's all about at the moment. Green and gold to the club is sold. You said it here on the podcast first. We are never winning anything important while the Glazers are our owner. And you see how they're running the show, and it's a straight down decline since Sir Alex Ferguson left. That's how it looks. That's how it is. We're bleeding out.
And the decline began before he left, because the decline really began when they sold Ronaldo, replaced him with Oberton, and that was that. But anyway, sorry, I mean, today was damning. Today was damning because at the end of the day, you have Richard Arnold and John Murtaugh who wouldn't get the job at Brighton. Like, Brighton wouldn't hire those guys because Brighton is an up-and-coming squad, bro. They have a good stadium. They have good front office. They have good recruitment. They've done well. They've sold signings and made money. And they wouldn't bring in a bunch of numpties that have no qualification and expect them to work miracles because of course, like Ed Woodward couldn't do it. He had 10 years of experience, made the same mistakes over and over again. And you think you're going to bring in his number 2 and he's going to be well suited to pull off transfer dealings. Dude, shame on us for expecting anything different. Eric Ten Hag, he's going to have an influence, but like at the end of the day, he is so reliant on his front office to retain the current players, get them new deals, bring in new players, and then handle as well as handle the team viewers of the world. So I don't envy Eric Ten Hag. He's got like an impossible job at the moment.
That team viewer announcement that is a huge L for Manchester United. Like, Richard Arnold knows they're going public with that. They tell Richard Arnold that. That is a huge L for him to see. But the main issue at Manchester United is the priority is not on football and hasn't been. And as fans, that's what we have to demand. The priority's been on the commercial side. The priority's been on the dividends, the secondary offerings, lining the Glazers' pockets, not on Carrington, not on redoing Old Trafford, not on the fundamentals of what this club is. And we've had Glazer-type owners in the past, and they've come and gone, and they've been replaced by legends in the game, John Henry Davies, moving us to Old Trafford, moving us to this hallowed ground, having the vision. He could never have imagined Manchester United would be watched around the world by almost 1 billion fans. It's an incredible story, and the Glazers are a dark, dark chapter, and we have to do everything we can to get them out because this club represents so much. 1958, Munich, coming back, winning the European Cup, sir. I got chills talking about how much this team means to me, and if your owner doesn't have that passion and they don't make it about football and the fans, football would be nothing without fans. Sir Matt Busby said it. They got to go. Gary Neville finally cracking on Sky Sports. He said it.
Let's hear it.
Awkward transition after it, but he said it.
You talk about the players. Look, the time has come for the Glazer family to sell the football club. The time has come. It's now.
Well, they were there
honestly,
today. They saw it all, didn't they? So perhaps they'll offer a little bit more money for the transfer.
Don't talk about that. That's bad. That's like embarrassing. Embarrassing that Sky Sports was willing to like take a detour so quickly when finally, it's been years coming, but ever since the Super League, Neville's finally cracked and started shooting some bullets over at the Glazers. Dude, they don't feel no heat, bro. No one comes to the U.S. and harasses them. They never show up. They haven't been to a game in 3 years since we lost to Barcelona, so I don't think they'll be back for a while, too. I think they're good. Like, this team sucks, and we just got a bunch of heat when we show up, so we might as well just not bother.
Gary Neville is a Muppet. You can see it. He's hurting when he says that statement. He's like, please, just sell. This club means so much to me. This club is everything to me. You get out of here. Just like, you've killed it. You've killed it over and over. Just like, it's done. You got your money. It's $4 billion.
The money's too good.
You're rich.
The money's too good, though.
Just take it. Just go. Please help us. His body language, what he says here, and then the Sky Sports, like, oh, they're going to spend that's crazy because the Glazers are the boss. They decide who gets the rights. They're clowns. They're trying to do everything they can not to have anti-Glazer sentiment.
He cut him off. That was like...
That's why you need us. That's why you need fan content, because we're going to call them out. We're going to go through the financials. We're going to say it like we can because we're supported by you, the fans. We don't have sponsors. We don't kowtow to nobody. Shout out to Gary Neville. Please come on the pod if you're listening. Like, I love to catch up with him, but I guarantee you he couldn't say all the things he would want to on the pod. Jumping to fan questions, we got a great hot take here from Caleb. Caleb, what do you got to say here?
Match day 1 at home against a solid Brighton team. The problem we've had all last year, all off season, and it is not shown in preseason, is that we are just so weak through the middle. We do not have the options to hold up what we're trying to accomplish. We need to bring in those players that can make a difference in that midfield role, and we just haven't done it. This is not the way we wanted to start as a united team, but definitely room for improvement. Just got to work on strengthening that midfield.
Great hot take by Caleb there. Midfield. That was the Achilles heel today. Some shy defending, but really you can't even get started with that midfield.
No, some shoddy defending for sure. Some shoddy defending as well. But you're right. Like, we lost four midfielders if you include Lingard, right? Between last year and this, and we had already needed a CDM. Matip was on the way out. Pogba wasn't reliable enough in terms of consistency with injuries. Lingard should have been moved on by already, and Matip barely played either. So this team is dying for additions, dying for signings. The fact that
thirsty,
we're all in for Frankie.
Hungry.
I get it, but we need multiple people. So if Frankie was all we needed, that'd be one thing. Oh, we're gonna wait to the end. How are we not signing other midfielder to also slot in and rotate with McTominay, who's never gonna be good enough to start for this team? He might be for this team because they don't have any real aspirations there, but in actuality, he can never be even a top 4 team, let alone a title competing team.
Never gonna be good.
He's not. I mean, I hate to say it. Fred maybe. But
Okay,
like,
no,
Dominic,
okay.
dude.
They
I love
could
exhaust.
be a part. Darren Gibson
Squad player.
played for this team, right? You know, Sunderland until I died.
Cleverly
Darren Gibson
was a title winner, bro.
Talking
Cleverly.
shit about the club in the
Ham-boned.
pub, like Ham-boned Darren Gibson. That guy,
Ham-boned.
like,
won.
won titles with Manchester United. Like McTominay could be a part of a squad, and part of great United size is deep squads, guys like him that can work hard.
You're not starters.
But when he has to run the midfield at Manchester United. No, he cannot do that. But if he needs to come into a back three, and just patch it up or play midfield for 30 minutes, FA Cup, or start in the FA Cup, that's a player you can play. I'm not going to rule him out. I'm just saying it's unfair to make him do it week in, week out. He's not that caliber of player. I do agree. We got a tweet here at Bobby Pardue 3, quote, "The board needs to actually back this manager in the window, and as fans, we have to give the manager time. This project is going to take a lot of time given the squad. It's going to take multiple transfer windows." What a responsible tweet here from Bobby.
It's also going to take even more transfer windows when you only get like 3 or 4 signings in a window. Like when this open heart surgery, we need 10 new players, and they brought in 3. One was free, one was £12 million, one was a proper player and a signing in Martinez. But dude, we have a long way to go. I'll tell you what, I'm going to give Eric Ten Hag as much time as he needs. I'm not giving the Glazers no more time. And you know what? John Arnold, Richard Murtaugh, those guys already don't deserve any more time.
You mess up their names.
Doesn't
so
matter.
right.
Their names don't matter. They're both
Slick Johnny Arnold.
Do the
Richard
guy
Arnold,
the
John
guy with the
Murtaugh.
ears, and then the guy who got hammered with the fans. Who's just like, we got plenty of money. We got plenty of money. Don't come to my house. Don't come to my house, please.
Well, if you boycott the sponsors, you're hurting us.
You're hurting us.
You're hurting. Yeah, keep doing
They
it.
boycott us. Team viewers like we're out. We're good.
You gotta get the Glazers out. At JMDeso17, quote from Instagram, quote, 3 windows away from any change. Now we have to hear about the 2 to 3 year plan for the 10th year in a row. Seen this movie before. Jamal Mota on Twitter, quote, "Sirs, same shit new season. What did we expect? No new signings of significance. Same horrible McFred midfield. Double burst to the Glazers and our shit executive staff. We need to get a Glazers out cheer. This is going to be a long-ass season. Let the pod therapy begin." That's why we're here. We got to get it out. Rough summer.
Don't you feel better? Oh, I feel so
rougher.
much better. I don't feel
rougher
better.
start to the goddamn season, sir.
I tell you what, preseason was fun. There was hope then. Now this is just a cold dose of reality.
From our Discord channel, please, if you haven't, join our Discord. There's over 700 Muppets chatting every single day. You want to drop some fan questions, you can drop them in our Discord. We got one here from Brandon. Quote, "Was this starting 11 put out as a display by Eric Ten Hag that the squad isn't good enough and the front office needs to ramp up their pursuits? Or is this another manager saying all the right things about changing things, but then just going with the status quo to appease the English fans and press?" This is some 3D chess right here from Brandon on the Discord.
I think he's just putting out the best 11 he has, and that best 11 isn't good enough. Because really, I mean, like, you could be creative and like, oh, let's give Donnie a punt, but he's had 2 years in the Premier League and hasn't been anywhere near good enough. Drop down Eriksson, Ronaldo wasn't ready to start. Like, I just think like this team is so thin, and half these players, like Delo is never going to be good enough to be a starting right back. Squad player, sure. He could be a squad player, but he's not good enough to start. Neither is McTominay, not good enough to start. Rashford in this form, not good enough to start. So it's like, yeah, it's a little bit of both, but I want him to be less like pandering to the old guard in terms of, yeah, Maguire's a de facto starter and captain. Well, let's see how that changes once like the pressure really heats up and we lose even more games. And then Eric Ten Hag's going to feel it. I want him to be, dude, who cares who was the captain last year or McFred was the combo that we played for like 100 games straight. Just do whatever works. If Gardner's the one that wants to run around, play him.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's like doing both because like the false 9, that was his take on it. Kind of saying, hey, I don't have a striker. I think that was kind of that statement. Hey, I'm just going to pick the best players and we don't have a number 9. And he said that in the presser. So that's kind of like a, hey, front office, like double bird to you, like do your job.
Not the bitch.
Like, yeah, sort of have a laugh about that. And then it's just, hey, like these are the 2 most seniored, most capped midfielders. I got to play him, and then I'm sure he's going to react to that. So to me, my concern is we saw how that went. How does he react, right? It was a big question. What is the starting 11 going to be? Okay, we saw that. Now, does he freak out and change too much? Does he change too little? Based on the subs, it seems like not a lot's going to change, and that might be a front office statement. So I think it's going to evolve here, Brandon, but I do think it's a great question. Another question from Discord, NorCal Champs 529. Keeping this squad as is will be a huge risk heading into the rest of the season. Assuming we get at least 1 to 2 more players, what are the top positions you want to see addressed? So I say assuming 2 players, 2 positions. You get 2, go.
It's got to be that holding midfielder like Frankie or an equivalent and a striker. You know, for me, I know we want to right back, but damn, we don't even have a striker and Ronaldo wants to leave. Martial, dude, how many times has he hurt his hammy? A lot. Dude, I feel bad for him because injuries, dude, I feel bad for players that get injured all the time. Like, you can already tell Varane going to be a bust because he's going to get injured all the time. And that's a bummer because that's the difference. Like, resiliency. The reason Fred is going to be a player for us eventually is because he doesn't get injured. Like he's resilient. The reason that Maguire plays a lot of games, he doesn't get injured. And that actually really fucking matters in the Premier League when it's so physical. So, like, sorry, we're in trouble.
Sir, the best ability is availability, baby.
That's it, dude. That's true, bro. I mean, it matters.
Unless you're Big Fred.
Big Fred.
No, I agree. You can get by, in my opinion. Like, I don't like it at all. And Manchester United, with all the money to spend, according to Arnold, shouldn't have to do it. But Laird, Dalot, Wan-Bissaka, you should be able to play a full season with 3.
Right.
Not great, but you can probably do it. And striker, you need it. Dying for it. And it ain't £9 million. It ain't £9 million.
33-year-old racist.
It ain't dollar menu.
That's like not even dollar menu.
It ain't
bro.
Austrian dollar menu, bro. It's like straight up like prime rib. Like prime rib. We need like 70 million prime rib. Like if you saw Holland finish that goal by
And
West
Nunez,
Ham,
bro, he looked good too.
that goal that he finished, like that run, just good. And he was like, he was just literally like, he's like, I'm kind of running, turbo, and then just like
quick. He's
he
quick.
hit it once. It's like ping.
He's so big, bro. He's gonna
It's just gonna be a long 10 years of Holland just dunking on us, and I think everyone's gonna. Murtaugh will probably be gone, and everyone's gonna remember that we could have signed for £3 million, and Murtaugh bottled that, and there was no buyout clause with that because it was straight the first deal from Molde, and there was no competition. Only put that one on a silver plate for us. Last tweet here, JC Wilson. Thank you very much for this one. Level-headed tweet. Quote, we are going to have to really dig in and trust the process. Have to be patient with Ten Hag and what he is trying to build. It is a complete rebuild. And that is what we're going to leave you with. This is a rebuild. It is open heart surgery. It could be a short open heart surgery, but the way Arnie and Murty want to do it, it's going to be a long open heart surgery. The patient might flatline a few times, get out the defibrillators. You know, it might be one of those. So we might need to get a few new doctors in here, but we're here. We got each other. We got this great community. Love this club, regardless of the owners. And I think part of being a fan, you get tested. And, you know, we got to keep our eye on the prize. Green and gold to the club is sold. Grab your Glazers Out scarves. AmericaRedDevils.com. Click on store. Green and gold, baby. Let's go. That's it. That's the podcast. We are for fans, by fans. Support us on Patreon. Like we said, we don't have any sponsors, so we can say what we want. We are fully supported by you, the fans. Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/AmericaRedDevils. Like I mentioned, check out our website, AmericaRedDevils.com. We have fan blog content. Please support our fan blog contributors. Write a review, like, subscribe, wherever you listen. It goes a long way. Again, small-time operation. We do this for the love of the game. Sir, give us our top 10 downloads the last 7 days.
Number 1, how you doing? How you doing? Washington, D.C., Phoenix, Arizona, Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, Oslo, Norway, Etobicoke, Canada, Brooklyn, New York, Denver, Colorado, New Braunfels, Texas, Indianola, Iowa, and last but not least, Middleton, Ohio. Appreciate all the American Devils listening week in, week out. We couldn't do it without you. A special one for Joel and Avram Glazers are on the way out. Get out of Manchester, bro. Don't come back for another 3 years. Sell the club. Please do us all a favor. you'd be instant heroes if you did that.
Everyone, have a great week. We're going to leave you with the Glazers out. Mikey C, fan of the pod. Let's go. Get him out.
Finish within the top 4. The manager then ends up sacked. And there's no investment.
I don't see your name enough around the motherfucking city, man. Like,
it's like there's no forward thinking within the management, the owners that own our club. It's like you're just happy taking that Champions League money. So it's Glazers out, get the Glazers out. We ain't got time to be fucking about. Get the Glazers out, get the Glazers out. Before the club's fucked and there's no way out. Get the Glazers out, get the Glazers out. They're ruining the team, they need taking down. Get the Glazers out, get the Glazers out. Let's take back our club and let's do this now. Let's save United, get the Glazers out. Cause they just wanna make profit and a paper trail. They don't care about failure or trophy counts or the fans' feelings, just the bank accounts. They're using the club like a war on the street that gets fucked by all, but it makes them peace. Don't care at all when we finish in the league, as long as it's not relegation seats. Cause it's fucked up the money that they make from the extortionate price of tickets on the gate that will always be paid by fans on match day. They love this club and will to the graves. And that pisses me off because we still make a dosh whenever we watch the club that we love fall from above and be dragged through the mud. So it's Glazers out, get the Glazers out. We ain't got time to be fucking about. Get the Glazers out, get the Glazers out.